Hey guys, it's Flowjector Coasters here. Today I will be doing a reaction to the Coaster Studios top 25 coasters in the world. I've seen quite a few other YouTubers do a reaction to this video, so I'm going to try my reaction at it. I hope if anything I say sounds offensive to Coaster Studios or you, I'm sorry, I did not mean it that way, but I'm just reacting to his video, and I'll try to make it funny to a certain extent. And also, if this isn't reaction enough for you, I'm sorry, because I actually agree with his opinions for the most part. I kind of like more like floater airtime than he does, but for the most part, I agree with his opinions. So I'm sorry if this isn't funny at all. But let's get into the video.
Which, now that I've ridden over 700 different roller coasters,
dang, she's getting a ton of airtime. I just want to say that. Steel Dragon looks cool, and that element looks really cool. I really want to ride Max Force, and I hope I can, some point.
And because my opinions are constantly changing, and so that's why if you compare this year's list to last year's, you'll notice
Flying Dinosaur looks like a super intense ride.
Shifted around a little. Not for any particular reason, other than maybe I had one ride experience that I was like, you know, that ride
Mindbender's loops look insanely intense. Like, it goes around that super fast. It's insane.
Over 100 new roller coasters last year. However, only 2 of them were good enough.
He says that like it's completely normal to ride over 100 or to ride 100 roller coasters in 1 year. Like, it's not, bro.
Shambhala at Portaventura and Twisted Colossus at Six Flags Magic Mountain.
Airtime drills would kill you.
Those rides, but with a video like this, you gotta make some tough decisions, and unfortunately, those were the 2 that got the boot. So just keep in mind when you're watching this video that all of these rides, in my
I will say Magic Mountain is in a great location. Like, that footage is really pretty. I feel like I would like Thunder Dolphin just because it goes through all those buildings. Like, it doesn't even matter the layout.
Have similar factors such as intensity, airtime, specifically ejector airtime.
I like how he talks about ejector airtime and steep drops right as he shows Hollywood Dream the ride.
I prefer in a roller coaster. That doesn't mean that's what is the best element in a ride. It's just the ones I happen to enjoy the most.
It's not the best element in the ride. It's just the ones I enjoy the most. Like, you literally just said it was the best elements on the ride.
At the end of the day, the rides that stand out to me,
he talks about how he doesn't like one-trick ponies, then he just shows a clip of Blue Flash, and all that does is just goes down a shed into a loop. I think this is a good spot. This ride looks really fun and like super fast-paced.
Elements never stop coming. You fly through the layout, very smooth.
It's like if Mystic Timbers had a twister layout instead of out and back.
Get right back on that thing. And that will not be the only GCI roller coaster to make this list. GCI in general just does some fantastic creations, and this is by far one of the best they've ever done. But up next, we have a ride that is located at my home park, Kings Dominion.
I feel like an RMC like this shouldn't be above Gold Striker, and it shouldn't be above Twisted Colossus. Like, just saying.
That they gave a huge makeover to, added in inversions, lots of airtime. I've had the opportunity to get a
I bet those 3 camelbacks in the beginning give like really good ejector airtime. It looks kind of like El Toro.
Not the tallest, not the fastest, but RMC really made good use of that layout that they had to work with. At the number 23 spot, we have Carden.
I don't know if this is just me, or Carden looks like biggest mixed Cannibal at Lagoon with I-305 at Kings Dominion.
This thing is very intense. It is over 200 feet tall, has an enclosed drop, and
this ride just looks absolutely insane. Like, I bet you get blinded as you go out of that enclosed drop.
It's just unbelievable. It flies through that layout. By far one of Europe's best roller coasters. And up next, we have a very interesting roller coaster.
I'm really confused on whether Ghost Rider counts as a GCI or a CCI, because the only thing CCI about it is its layout, but like, I feel like GCI shouldn't take full credit. So, should I comment down below if I should put this in my GCI ranking or my CCI rankings?
But it features GCI trains, it's very smooth, and it gives an incredible night ride.
This is another ride that Airtime Thrills is crazy about.
I'm a huge fan of this thing, and it's definitely one that you won't want to miss. Just one spot ahead of it is Phantom's Revenge at Kennywood in Pennsylvania.
This ride is definitely on my bucket list. That ejector airtime at the end looks insane. It's just a little short for me. Shore does have weird history. Like, it goes from an aero looper to a hypercoaster, and it's like, it's just weird.
And because of the restraints, you get some crazy ejector airtime, especially towards the end of the ride. And one of the things people
at the brake run, you can see those people like plopping back into their seat. Like, that looks insane.
Taking the number 20 spot is Mystic
I've actually
Troopers.
ridden this ride, and it's absolutely insane. I've ridden it twice in the back row each time, and there's just airtime and laterals, and that first drop might be the best part of the ride. You get whipped to the side. It's awesome.
This thing flies, it flies, and you will get some great airtime on this thing. A lot of people love to make fun of the shed, but
I actually think the shed is pretty cool. Like, for me, there's always like snakes, and it like made a super loud sound, and I kind of liked it. I don't really know what to think about this ride. Like, that first drop is good, and the drop off the quarry wall is good, but it doesn't seem to have much else to it.
As I did when I first initially wrote it, because it
I have to admit, it does look really cool, like it's dropping off the wall and stuff, and that heaven roll looks awesome.
When I did ride it, I very much enjoyed it. I still think it has one of the best drops on an RMC. A backseat ride on this thing is like nothing else. And taking the 18th spot is Terran at Fantasyland.
This ride just looks absolutely awesome, like the theming and everything, and like the launches, it's just epic. If Maverick at Cedar Point had this level of theming, it would be one of the best coasters in the world, and it already is. Now that I say that, I bet Maverick is the next spot, just saying.
Get back on it later this year to ride again. So who knows, maybe this time next year, this ride will be a lot higher up on this list. We don't know, we'll just have to wait and see. Another Intamin launch coaster is taking the 17th spot. This is Maverick, and while this does not have the crazy theming,
I'm really excited for this ride. Like, that drop looks insane, like it's really intense, and those transitions, it just looks awesome.
There's nothing like that second launch when you're already going at a
Cedar Point in general is awesome. Like, it can't do anything wrong. I'm not a Cedar Point fanboy.
If you ever visit Cedar Point, do not miss this ride. At number 16, we have Wicked Cyclone at 6x3.
I think this ride would be like, it's probably the best small RMC. Like, I think it's better than Twisted Timbers, Storm Chaser, like all of those. It looks awesome. So far, his ranking is like solid. I don't really disagree with anything, except I think Wicked Cyclone should be higher.
But really makes good use of the space, which is why this is my favorite roller coaster in the New England region of America. And just barely outdoing it is Storm Chaser at Kentucky Kingdom. This is by far
in all of the off-ride POVs that I've seen, this ride is just flying. Like, all of the hills just look like they give insane ejector airtime.
Twisted Twins was a dual-track wind roller coaster.
I feel like this RMC iBox coaster is the closest iBox coaster to a RMC Raptor. Like, it's kind of like Wonder Woman Golden Lasso coaster, but a hybrid. Speaking of an RMC Raptor, here we go. I feel like this ride shouldn't be as high as it is. Like, I feel like Storm Chaser and Wicked Cyclone are better than this one.
However, absolutely, I think what I'm about to say applies to that ride. This thing.
I've actually heard Wonder Woman Golden Lasso coaster is actually better than Railblazer, like by a little bit, but I don't really know why. It's the same ride.
Because this ride really blew me away. There's nothing like riding solo, hugging the single rail track.
I bet it is really cool to ride like by yourself without anyone or anything beside you. That just would be a cool feeling.
On this list that has not moved at all. In last year's list, it was also at number 14. And funny enough, the next ride also did not move from last year's list. Number 13 is still.
I honestly have no clue what to say about this ride. I haven't seen a POV or anything, but I would just trust his opinion. It looks like it has awesome airtime and it's pretty intense.
Everything Millennium Force does, but so much better. It has great airtime, a really strong layout flying through the trees, and it really just wowed me.
I feel like so many people say how overrated Millennium Force is, and it's not that good. That it's like underrated because so many people think it's overrated, if that makes any sense. This ride just looks insane, and I'm kind of surprised it's not higher in his list. I thought he would put this at like his top 10 at least, but it's just so satisfying to watch. Wait, I want to see the element. Yeah, this element is just so satisfying to watch. I haven't ridden this because I did not go to Kingston Minion when I lived in Virginia, but this ride is like so freaking awesome.
Nothing else like it. So now we're at the number 11 spot, and let me tell you, this ride has gone through a roller coaster.
That footage with the sunset in the background looks really cool, and like how it's like a silhouette of X2. But this ride, like in general, it looks so intense and like insane. But Exonica is definitely better. But there's just nothing else like this ride in America, which makes it really unique and cool. I wish there were more of these in the world. Overall, I think this is a good spot for this coaster, like number 11, because I just feel like it's a really good ride. And I feel like there are better coasters out there.
Go to Magic Mountain now. This is just one of those rides that I just want to stay on and lap and cheer as I go through the layout.
He said the exact same thing about Exonica.
Now we've made it to the top 10, and at the number 10 spot,
I have not ridden it. I really want to go to Hershey Park to ride it, but this ride just looks super intense and awesome. Like, It's just like I-305, it's super satisfying to watch, and I'm kind of surprised it's not higher on this list. I mean, I'm kind of surprised it's not like swapped with I-305. I thought I-305 would be higher, but this ride looks really good, and I do not know what Airtime Thrills is talking about it when he says like it's so painful, so bad, it's thigh crush. I'm like, I feel like bad restraints are only bad if the ride doesn't make up for it, but yeah. Most people think of this ride as like a lower tier RMC, but I'm kind of surprised it's this high on this list, because I've heard it's rough at some points, and it's not very long. I don't know why he put it so high.
It also has one of the best endings for any roller coaster, going through that double barrel roll into the brake run. Freaking crazy. Just one spot above it is Fury 325. The tallest
this roller coaster is really high on my bucket list. Like that first drop, everything about it looks totally awesome, and I really want to ride it. It's only like 7 hours away from my house, so hopefully I can ride it. I also have a Platinum Pass.
It is definitely the best coaster B&M has ever done. It is just great fun. It is so re-rideable. You get off of it and just want to go.
It's kind of funny how this is the only B&M on this list.
Best elements that B&M's incorporate onto a roller coaster. Not to mention the thing.
I would probably put this like higher, like maybe number 5, but this is a pretty good spot.
I don't like B&M. I'm a big fan of some of their other rides, but for the type of elements that I look for in roller coasters, a lot of B&Ms just don't have that. But Fury, to an extent, does, which I think is pretty cool. At number 7, we have Wildfire at Colmartin. This is one of those rides that has dropped a few spots.
I've never heard anything bad about this ride. Like, I heard the view is awesome, the first drop, like, it looks like definitely one of the best RMCs out there.
Probably the greatest view of all time from a lift hill. And the way it flies through the trees of Sweden, up and onto the cliffside, it is a fabulous creation. I believe I rode it like 17 or 18 times.
You rode it 17 or 18 times because there's nothing else to do there. It's not like people would look at animals at a zoo.
The Voyage at Holiday World. And I know a lot of people who this roller coaster is their favorite of all time, and for good reason. This ride is insane.
I've never heard anyone say that this ride is bad, but I've heard some mixed feelings. Like, some people say it's like the best in the world, but some people say the airtime is weak and it's rough. I just don't really know what to think about it.
It really has the best of everything. First half feels like a hyper coaster. Second half feels like an RMC before RMC was even a thing. Gravity Group knocked our socks off with this ride. In my opinion, this is by far one of the greatest wind roller coasters ever built. So now we've made it to our top 5, which brings us to
this is a great spot for this ride. It's like if X2, like it fixes every problem with X2, and it's just 1,000 times better. It's just, it looks absolutely insane, and it's hard to believe that this even exists.
I said this in the review, but I have never laughed more on a roller coaster in my life than on Edgenica for the first time. It is everything I wanted X2 to be and more. So you saw X2 made number 11, still phenomenal ride, like 10 out of 10. But Edgenica feels like 11.
10 out of 10, yeah, 10 out of 10. Phenomenal ride.
I'm so glad I had the chance to experience it, because I freaking love this ride. Definitely go back and watch that review I did of this thing. I go way more in depth into it, as well as all the other roller coasters that are on this list. I have reviews of them.
While you're watching his reviews, maybe you should go ahead and watch my review of Orion.
We gotta talk about the number 4 spot, which is Hakuge.
We'll say Hakuge is just a beautiful ride, like that white wood with the blue track. It's just pretty, and it's so graceful as it goes through those elements. It's like the B&Ms of RMCs.
Not have the chance to experience, but let me tell you, Hakuge is freaking phenomenal. POVs do not do it justice. So much airtime, pacing is unbelievable, and unlike a lot of
I do believe him when he says that, like, the POVs of this ride make it look kind of like mediocre, but I've heard only great things, and the airtime is good, and the pacing is just phenomenal. So I really want to ride this.
And I've really thought a lot about this. This whole list was
just have a feeling that this is when I'm gonna get mad. Like, when someone says that they've thought a lot about something, I'm just like, uh-oh, I'm gonna get mad. Here we go, I'm already mad. Like, Steel Vengeance is by far the best coaster in the world. I know I haven't ridden it, but I've heard great things about it, and I've watched the POV, and this ride, the POV does do it justice, because I can just feel the ejector airtime when I'm watching it. And just, this ride has everything. It has inversions, it has intensity, it has airtime. Like, it has 30 freaking seconds of airtime, and it's all good. Like, I don't know how this could be number 3. I bet El Toro and Lightning Rod are better than this, but let's just move on.
However, I still have a soft spot for 2 other rides that I decided to place ahead of this, both of which are wind roller coasters, so maybe this is the best steel coaster.
This might just be me, but I feel like you can't base your rankings off of soft spots. Like, it's either it's the best or it's not as good. Like, it's not like I have a soft spot for these rides. Like, How can that be a thing?
Time you'll ever experience.
I'm not saying that El
Ridiculously
Toro is
intense,
bad or
pacing,
anything, like,
top-notch.
it's the
While
best
it may not
coaster
be
that
as
I've
long
ridden,
as Steel
but it's just not to the
something
level
about
of
it that I just
Steel
love riding
Vengeance.
it so
And also,
much. I really wish Intamin
yeah,
did
it's just
more
not
of
to
these
the
type of
same
rides, 'cause
level.
Everything about this roller coaster is just phenomenal. So what do I have at the number 1 spot?
We have the number 1 spot. It is, ladies and gentlemen, Lightning Rod, because it's obviously better than Steel Vengeance and El Toro. Yay. How can you allow yourself to base your opinions off of like something that doesn't even exist? Like, I like Lightning Rod the best. Like 3 years ago when I was running at full speed, I'm like, but it's not running at full speed. So like, yeah, like you can't base your opinion off what it was. You have to base your opinion on what it is. So I'm just gonna tell myself that he likes Steel Vengeance the best because he just cheated himself out. Like, he just cheated. Like, Lightning Rod, like, I know it's so freaking good, but you can't base your opinion like, I like Lightning Rod in the third row with the fat person sitting in front of me when it's running at full speed 3 years ago. But it's the best coaster in the world. When it was like that, like, oh my goodness, you can't be that specific.
So many technical issues the past few years because in my opinion, this is my favorite roller coaster. So that is how I rank my 25
That is how
favorite roller
he
coasters.
ranks his
As you can
25
see, there
coasters
are
in the
a
world,
ton of rides
not
that
how
did
I
not
rank
make this
them.
list.
Just
That
saying.
does not mean they are bad roller coasters. There are still plenty of roller coasters out there that I would give a 10 out of 10. But when you've got over 700 roller coasters on your list, it is tough to figure out what is the best.
He
the
just
best.
humble
And
bragged
unfortunately,
about
there just
riding
isn't
700
enough
roller
room for
coasters.
everything. Again, the type
I'm
of rides
sorry, but I
enjoy are
haven't.
Probably gonna be different from the type of rides that you enjoy. So all I ask is that you respect my opinion. You don't have to agree with it. In fact, I encourage you to go out and form your own opinion. Figure out what your 25 favorite roller coasters are, which are probably very different than mine. And that is totally okay. If we all had the same opinion in this world, then videos like this would be irrelevant. No one would care. And maybe you still don't, but I thought I would share how I rank my favorite roller coasters I've ridden. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to stay tuned for more here at Coaster Studios.
Hey guys, that is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed my reaction to the Coaster Studios top 25 roller coasters in the world. If you did, make sure to like and subscribe to the video and share it with your friends, and have a great day.